Hi there, I am Heather Rudolph and I am an organizational junkie. And because of that, I would really love to talk to you today about classroom organizational tips. I'm one of those people that likes to know exactly where everything is as much as possible. It doesn't always work that way, but it's definitely fun to try. And if you've ever woken up in the morning and you can't find your keys, then you understand the frustration of not knowing where things are. So, with that being said, to make something a routine and have an organizational area, it takes 21 days of making something a habit to make it a habit, according to James Dean from UC Davis. Now, if we can work on organizing for 21 days and then it becomes our routine, and we imply that in the classroom, we will benefit our students as long as also ourselves, and that will be very helpful. Sometime during your career as a teacher, probably more than once, you will have students that come into your classroom who come from dysfunctional homes. Dysfunctional could be anything from unorganized to something more severe, but they would love to have a safe haven. And your classroom has that ability to be that for those students, and that is so important. When we're talking about organizational in the classroom, it does mean about the physical environment, making it easy for kids to get around, making it smooth, good flow for you as a teacher, and it's all around just a great aspect of things you can do for your students. It is said about routines that routines are something that happens that you create over time. It's always the same, and for the most part, it doesn't vary day to day or even for the year. They're not as strict as rules, but they're just as important. One of my favorite sayings is the saying that I found on a website called teacherslearn.com, and it says that the classroom organization is like salt in a recipe. It's necessary, but nobody ever notices it until the absence of it. And when it's absent, the diners will start to ask you, where's the salt? And that's true about your students as well. When you have organizational tips, nobody notices it from the very beginning, but if you don't have it, you will be asked and bombarded daily about what's the plan next, where is the glue, where is the pencils, whatever the thing is the child might need, you will be asked routinely if you don't have a strategy and a plan laid out. So now I would like to share with you some visual things, the aids that I absolutely love. This is a classroom that has, and not every classroom has this size, but it has the ability to have a in-class library, and it's so functional. I love it. What it has is a couch, which is really nice to have, so that the kids have something other than just those hard plastic chairs to deal with on a daily basis. It gives them an area to read that's separate from their desk, but also the teacher can see what's happening in that area at all times. The other thing that I love about this is the lighting. They have more than just the fluorescent lights that are in the room. There are lights in there that you bring in that bring in warmth. You can pick lights up at a garage sale or a junk store or anywhere and bring it into your room to make a more warm and cozy environment. The other thing that I absolutely love is the green plant at the front door. Having plants from outside and bringing nature in is twofold. One is just nice to have it, extra oxygen in the room, which is nice, but it could be a science project. Also, it can be a responsibility for one of your students to be the water person to monitor that plant. The other thing about this organization in this particular classroom is the bins. They have bins that are marked for fantasy or adventure or history, whatever the book title or the subject might be. But also behind those, on the wall, are labels as well. So if those bins get moved around, they can easily be put back where they're supposed to go. It's a fantastic room and I love it. There's also a separate desk there that I don't know if you can see, but it's so functional for students. My next slide is one of my biggest pet peeves, and that is when I have students that interrupt the classroom because they don't know where their assignment is from a day they missed or more than one day, or if they went to OT or they went to speech and used a service outside the classroom, they've come back in and they missed something. This bin right here is where the kids can go and find the work that they need without interrupting the class and ruining your lesson plan. It's really important to make students responsible for their own work, and this allows them to do that. I've also had siblings that come to pick up work for their other sibling or brother or sister, and they can easily find where the subject matter is that they need without being interrupted. The next slide is, I have, well, two pet peeves I would have to say in the classroom. That is crayons, markers, that as one, and sharpened pencils. Half the time we can never find a sharpened pencil or an eraser. So this is crayons, and what I have found that works with having crayons in the classroom is to sort them by color. It has helped us tremendously. When I entered my classroom, they just had buckets full of crayons, mixtures of crayons, and what I found was that the students would walk around trying to find the bin that had the best crayons in them. This has eliminated that problem completely. We have them sorted on their desk by color, and every student knows they're just the same. They don't walk around anymore, and I think that that has been extremely effective. The crayon, this one behind me is the same similar thing, it's markers. And this particular teacher is an example of a teacher's work, and they did their markers and crayons together by color. That will work for you if you have them separated. You might have to have a table monitor who goes and gets the crayons for the day, but either way, it works. The next slide that I'd like to show you is my favorite way of having crayons at the table. And that is something by Lakeshore Learning Center, and they're sorted by color, and it's a little caddy, and it's perfect. I absolutely love it. They are costly, so you can be creative. We made ours from PVC pipe, and you can do whatever you need to do to be creative. You can use cans, but having colors at their desk has really helped eliminate the walking around and the fighting over crayons, who has the better bin. This next one that I have is, I love this. This is lessonplanning.com. Lessonplanning.com is a way to establish your lesson plans in one folder. They actually make you almost a complete book, which is fantastic. And it's very reasonable, but what I like is that if you have a substitute teacher come to your room and you did not know you were going to be out prior the day before, they allow the substitute to figure out exactly where you're at. It even has a bookmarker that comes with it. It's sorted by time, so your days are broken up, and your lesson plans are done. And especially after a year of teaching, you can make adjustments, you can add pages, but you will have that same lesson plan, and it becomes easier every single year. The other picture that's there is a classroom. It's behind the teacher's desk, and I love it. It's labeled. Everything is clearly labeled and uses color. It even has construction paper by color, and it's absolutely great. If you have someone coming in to provide a service and they need to look at an IEP, this is an easy way for anybody to walk in and get what they need, even your lesson plans or extra paperwork. The next one that I have is something about the labels. Labeling everything is so vital. I think it works. It's what makes everything work. And you can use labels, whether it be pictures or just be labels themselves. There is this website, and it is called teacherspayteachers.com. It's fabulous. And it's ideas that teachers have come up with, and they sell their product online. And this is 100 labels for $1. They are pre-printed, so they'll say glitter, glue, scissors, whatever, but they also have blank ones so you can add your own. And what I like is it's pleasing to the eye to see a label and they're all the same in the room, but also kids know that when they see that label, there'll be some sort of information that they need that they can gain from that label. And for $1, you really can't go wrong. That website is fantastic. Highly recommend it. This is something that we have in our classroom that I actually got off of Pinterest, and it is a mirror in our room. Having a mirror in your room that's shatterproof, of course, is important, I believe, for two reasons. One, it's nice to have reflective lighting in the room, especially if you can turn down some of those fluorescent lights, but you have other floor lamps. It makes a nice and cozy environment. But also, when your students enter your room, if they've had breakfast maybe before they got to school, they had breakfast, and now they come to your room and they have yogurt on their face. This allows them to see themselves and show a reflection, makes them self-aware that this room belongs to them. Even if that's a subconscious thing, they know by seeing themselves in that room that that's where they belong. This has little owls around it, and it says, who's the best student? And I just love it. And I have found that when kids say they have something in their eye, or they just want to look at themselves, instead of walking all the way to the bathroom and getting a pass for the hallway, they can stay right in the classroom and get the same thing accomplished without having to disrupt the classroom. The next one that I have, slide that I like to show you, is a Pinterest idea as well, and it has worked so effectively. I strongly believe in having students have chores and that make them responsible. I have found in the class that I'm in, I have second graders through fifth in my classroom, so it's a large class, and they always make an excuse to stand up and walk around. This is trash cans, little pails at a desk of 4. And somebody gets assigned as a trash monitor, so before recess and lunch they dump the trash. But it is fantastic to have at their desk. It eliminates the walking around. It also gives responsibility. My next slide that I'd like to share with you is having everything, like I said, labeled by picture and also words. My class, being that they're young students, there's a big age gap in their reading ability. Some of them, unfortunately, can't even read. And so by picture, there's no question of where things go. Not only is the bins that the items are in labeled, but so is the cubby hole. So when they go back to place that bin in there, they know exactly where it's supposed to go. This is my favorite thing. This is help wanted. Now, I was saying that kids need responsibility, but they love to have responsibility and they actually love to help. This is something where there won't be a day that children can come to me and say, that person always gets to be the line leader, because there are so many jobs to do. It's perfect. So what it is I have a pencil sharpener, like I said, one of my pet peeves. So now we have crayons, pencils, and pencil crayons are always sharpened, and that's their job. We also have the teacher's assistant, we have the trash monitor, we have line leader, we have the calendar person. There's so many jobs during the day, and we have popsicle sticks that we use that we take out and rotate. So everyone gets a job and everybody feels important. No one's more important than anyone else. The other thing that I have up here is our centers, or our groups. Because the group is so large and I have that age gap, we need to have our jobs by color, by visual, by having a picture, and by number and by name. So our groups are clearly stated where you're supposed to be, what group you're in, and if they have any questions because they can't read computer, that has a picture of a computer there as well. Very, very effective. In conclusion, I would love to say that no matter what you do to organize your room, have fun, have a great time with it. It's so important to be flexible as well. When you go about making these plans, you're going to find that they're going to change often, and that's completely fine as long as you let the students know what has changed. Be flexible, like I said, that's important, but make sure whatever you do for rules and routines and plans and procedures that they're enforceable. If we are going to make these rules, we need to have standards for them. And then also make sure that it's reasonable for yourself as well. Because when we make these rules, we need to make sure that we're not setting boundaries that are way too high for them or ourselves. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. I thank you for taking your time, and have a wonderful day.